And we're live. What's going on, swim fans? So excited to be here with you guys. My name is Fares Ksebati, co-founder and CEO of MySwimPro. Today we have a special live Q&A session. So go ahead and let me know in the chat where you guys are joining me from. And if you're watching this video in the future, hello from the past, and go ahead and let me know down below in the comments where you guys are joining me from. We have a global community at MySwimPro, and here we are all about helping you swim faster and smarter than ever before. So excited to go ahead and welcome everyone from around the world. And as people are joining in, I'm going to be curating some of the questions. So go ahead and let me know your questions, talk all things swimming, and then I will go ahead and play a few videos for you guys that really help explain how you get faster at swimming. So we know that water is 800 times more dense than air. I talk about this all the time on the channel. So the two ways that you get faster are by decreasing drag and also increasing propulsion. But if there's no visual, it can be difficult to understand what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and play a few videos that I think are going to add a lot of context. So let me pull them on the screen, and I think you guys are going to love what you're about to see. Here we go. So right now we have Annie swimming on the screen. Look at that technique. So while she's swimming, I'm going to go ahead and break apart what we see. And I just realized my head is covering her kick. So I'm going to go ahead and just move my head. Clip that to the top corner. There we go. So this is Annie. She is swimming freestyle right now. And she is doing a great job. Now, you might be wondering, like, what is she doing well? Where can she improve? What's going on right here? So let me break it down for you guys. The first thing I want you to pay attention to is the head position. So ignoring the breath, we'll talk about the breath. Just look at where her eyes are focused throughout the stroke. So while she's swimming, her eyes are looking down. It doesn't matter if you're in the pool or you're in open water. The goal here is to look down when you swim. Well, why would you want to do that? Because when you look down, you're basically reducing the amount of resistance that you have with the water. It's the most streamlined way that you can move through the water. If you look down, your hips are going to be hidden behind your upper body. So besides your head, which creates the most resistance in the water, it's your shoulders and your chest and your back. And your upper body creates a lot of resistance. So we want to make sure that your legs and your hips are hiding behind the biggest part of resistance in your body. And so if we keep our head and our eyes looking down, our body's going to be relatively flat. And so the widest part right now is actually her foot. So I'm trying to point. I don't know if you guys can see, but if you look at her feet, her foot is actually the widest part of the stroke. Now I'm going to play this one more time, then we're going to have a different version of it. So that's head position. Now let's focus on the breath, because a lot of swimmers ask about, well, how are you supposed to breathe in swimming? So if you notice, one eye and one ear remains in the water. So I'm going to go ahead and tilt my head for you guys in the camera if the water line's right in the middle. Here's a beautiful animation that you guys can see it. So if you want to swim faster, you've got to keep your eyes on the bottom of the pool. And just like you see in this animation, you have to keep one eye and one ear underneath the water. And the way you can get a breath is that as you're moving, as long as you're making forward progress, you're actually going to create this wave with your head. And that wave is going to create an air pocket that you can breathe in while you're looking at the side. So I'm actually going to pause the video so you can see right there. So awesome animation, by the way. Shout out to Lorenzo who made this. You can see when you're taking that breath, one eye is under the water, one eye is above the water. And even though it seems like there's no way that you can breathe because your mouth is underwater, there's actually an air pocket, #physics, that creates this basically a bubble. And as long as you're moving, there's going to be that air pocket. So that's the most fundamental thing that I wanted to show in this video, is really focusing on your head position, your breathing position. And then I'm going to play this one more time, and I'm going to talk about your catch and the kick. So the kick is very narrow. We want to keep a short, fast kick, pointing your toes. And then you can see with the hand position, we're entering the water with our fingertips. Fingertips slide into the water right at the shoulder level, and that's where we're going to get the maximum extension right in front of the shoulder. So I'm actually going to play a different video now that's going to show muscular engagement. Now I know this is a Q&A, so I'm going to get to questions in a little bit, and we're going to get there momentarily. There we go. So this is a different video that we're going to put, and I'm actually going to put my head right there in the bottom corner. So we're now focusing on different muscle groups that you engage when you swim. So when you swim, you're using all your muscles. That's the great thing about swimming. So I'm actually going to go ahead and pause. We're going to go through each of these videos one at a time. Shout out to Taylor right here. Taylor is giving us a demonstration. Boom. So we've basically highlighted a lot of muscles. And what you want to pay attention to is not just the fact that swimming uses all of your muscles, but when you're swimming, at different phases of the stroke, you're using different muscles. So swimming is great because it's total body. But when you're taking the stroke, for example, at this point in the stroke, the body is fully extended. So the core is tight. But what the muscles that are really going to start getting used at this phase are, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but basically the tricep and the lat. And actually, the end of the stroke, you can see with the other arm that has the smartwatch on it. That arm is finishing the stroke, so that has full muscular engagement. Let's go ahead and play to the next clip, and you can see this is Jamal. He's getting in that stroke. So at that point, well, we missed it. So at this point, the arm and the lat, you can't see the lat. That's the part of your back that really engages the pull. Imagine doing like a pull-up, right? You're doing a pull-up on a pull-up bar, and that's really important to engage all of your muscles. So I'm going to go ahead and play through this one more time, and then we have one more video, and then we're going to get into the question and answer. So that's Jamal showing us all the muscular engagement. These are awesome animations. If you guys like this stuff, you should definitely be subscribed because we put out amazing content that helps you swim. This is a little half over the water, half under the water. Great way just to visualize the stroke because sometimes unless you see it, it's really difficult to understand what you're doing if you're self-coach or even if you're on a team to really understand like what the heck is going on with the coach. I think I have one more animation actually. Here we go. Yeah, may as well. Let's play it. How to swim perfect freestyle. And then we're going to get into your questions. I'm very excited to bring that to you guys. So focus on a short, fast kick. Rotate from your hips and your shoulders. You want to make sure you're breathing to your side. Keep one eye and one ear in the water. And you want to have a strong catch. And yeah, that's how we do. That's how you swim perfect freestyle. Make sure you check out the MySwimPro app. I got clones right there. All right, so if you guys are new here, welcome to MySwimPro. My name is Fares Ksebati, co-founder and CEO. Think of me as Coach Fares, and here I'm your professor of speed. So if you want to swim faster, this is the place to do it. And I'm happy that we're doing a live Q&A because we haven't done these in a while. And today's live Q&A is sponsored by AquaGuard. So I want to give them a shout out. I'll talk about them in a little bit, but let's go ahead and fire off some questions. Here we go. All right, first question here. We've got Jacob. I'm going to move this to the bottom so we can put it. So if you have a question, I'll pin them on the screen. So what are some home exercises I can do to improve performance? The most important word in swimming is streamline. So if you're thinking about something you can do at home, how do you focus on developing the most important thing, which is streamline? I would say it's core strength. That means doing a plank. You know, if you do a push-up, you're actually going to engage your core. But doing something as simple as a plank where you have your arms can be straight or on your elbows, and you want to hold a neutral body position because that's what you do when you swim. When you push off the wall, you're in streamline, and streamline is the foundation for all of the different strokes. So it's super important that you maintain that body position, and that's something that you can do at home. Great. Greetings from London, from Argentina. Great to see you guys. Mexico. Awesome. We've got such an international community of people joining. I absolutely love it. All right, here's a very specific question. My question is, when you're swimming the 200 IM, should you sprint on any of the strokes? Sometimes I know when, and sometimes I don't. That's a great question. So you want to think of the 200 IM as 4 50s. 50 butterfly, 50 back, 50 breast, and 50 freestyle. And each of those 50s, you want to feel like you're building. So in the 400 IM especially, you want to feel like you're getting faster throughout the entire 100 of each stroke. The same thing applies in the 200 IM. So when you swim the 200 IM, every 50, you want to treat it as its own build. Build means you start out slower and you get faster. Now in a 200 IM, and the 100 IM, you're actually going to go pretty fast on everything. So you're never going slow. Like in the 400 IM, you have to moderate your energy or else you're going to go too fast and just die. So when you swim the 200 IM, think of each 50 as a build. So you start out the fly moderate and you get faster throughout. So that's a great question, definitely. All right, how do you increase the distance when you dive? That's a great question. So when you dive in the water, streamline is actually the most important thing. So sometimes people think that if you can dive further, you're going to go faster. And that's not actually true. So it's okay to maybe not go as far, but you enter the water in a cleaner hole, in a smaller hole. So that way you enter the water with more speed. Because we've all seen it where someone jumps in the water and they like belly flop. And that belly flop absolutely just like it hurts, but also you go slower when you enter the water. So you may go a little bit further, but I would say that's not the most important thing. So if you are trying to improve your dive, focus on improving how narrow you enter through the water so you make less splash, you have less resistance, and you carry more speed into the water. Now, the next part is like, well, how do I actually like jump further? There's things that you can do out of the water that allow you to strengthen your agility to leave the diving block so you can have more explosive reaction time. So that this is called plyometrics. So there's different dryland exercises you can do, like squat jumps and things to really, amplify your output when you jump into the water. But some things you can do on the diving block are making sure that you're actually positioned correctly. That means your toes are over the edge. If you're doing a 2-foot start, both your toes are over the edge. Or if you're doing a 1 foot forward, a staggered start, you want to make sure both your feet are pointing in the direction that you're trying to go. You want to make sure you're in an athletic position, and that'll allow you to jump further. You can practice this out of the water, like on land, and think about what position allows you to jump the furthest and be the most explosive. You have to be comfortable. At the same time, you have to be in the proper position to lead in one direction. So great question. We have a video on how to dive faster. It's on YouTube, so Google MySwimPro how to dive faster, and you'll be able to find it. All right, greetings from Houston, Texas. I love all your videos. Thank you very much for all your knowledge and swimming. Awesome. Thanks, Jose. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. This was in regard to breathing, I believe. My problem is that once I bring my mouth above the water's surface, my legs go downside, causing me to sink and halt. Yeah. So here's the deal. You want to make sure that as you're breathing, you keep that one eye in the water. What's probably happening is you're rotating to the side on the breath, and then your head is coming up as well. So you want to try and think about keeping the water line in the middle of your head, so that way you don't get water in your mouth, or you don't sink. All right, here we go. Great question. I love it. Can we swim 365 days of the year? What precautions we need to take while swimming in the pool? Swimming, if done correctly, is something that you can do every single day of the year. You can't wait. I mean, you can, but eventually it's going to catch up to you. If you try and weight lift or run or do these other activities, swimming you can do every single day. Now, I mentioned you have to do this correctly. So what on earth does that even mean? So to swim correctly, that means you're balancing the right amount of intensity, workout volume, which means distance, and also equipment use. So if you swim every day and you use paddles and you swim really far and really intense, your body's eventually going to break. You're gonna increase your chance of injury, and you're not going to be able to swim every single day. So and this applies even if you're not thinking about swimming every day, if you want to swim 5 days a week or 3 days a week, it's really important that you balance your swimming distance, your intensity, and your use of equipment. Also your variety. So if you swim butterfly every single day and your technique is falling apart and you're really fatigued, having poor technique will also increase your chance of injury, and therefore you won't be able to do that every single day. All right, we're going to take one more question, then we're going to have something special for you. How do I increase my swimming distance without hurting my shoulders? Great question, Taylor, to follow up on what we just talked about. So when it comes to shoulder injury prevention, the first thing is actually out of the water and doing the right exercises that strengthen your rotator cuff and surrounding muscles in your back, so that way you have the right platform, which is your body and your physique, to make sure you can actually swim regularly and not reduce your chance of injury. You can't prevent 100% any kind of injury, but you can reduce your chance by focusing out of the water first, have the right foundation, the right mechanics with your body, strengthen those muscles, be consistent, do dry land, and then once you get into the pool, having the right technique. So it's really important that you focus on swimming with good form, because if you have imperfect technique, and no one's perfect, but if you have some of the fundamentals are a little loose, you're going to increase the amount of stress that you put on your shoulders. And that increased stress, it's unnecessary, and that's how you can increase your likelihood for injury. So if you want to increase your distance without hurting your shoulders, first of all, you have to do it gradually. So there's this rule about increasing your workout volume, which is 10% per week. So as you're increasing your distance, you only want to do that about 10% per week. The other way that you can increase distance is the way that you break up the workout. So if you're swimming really long sets, like 500 meters, 1,000 meters at a time, and without any break, you're basically increasing the continuous load on your shoulders and your whole body. So by breaking up the workouts, that's going to decrease your chance of injury and reduce the amount of potential for pain in your shoulders. And if you're not really sure how to structure a workout, we do that for you at MySwimPro. Get the MySwimPro coach, and it'll allow you to have that structured workout that gives you variety so that it's still interesting and you can increase your volume if that is your specific goal. So that's a great question. So I see there's so many more questions, and we're about to get to them. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can. But first of all, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for today's live, and that is AquaGuard. So let's go ahead and give them a shout out. I'm back on screen. So if you guys are like me and you swim in pools, the pools have chemicals that can damage your hair. And thanks to products like AquaGuard, their pre-swim hair defense, you can actually put this product in your hair before you get to the pool, and it's going to protect your hair before you swim. There's a lot of things in the pool and the chlorine, and it really just destroys your hair. Back in the day, it did nothing to my hair, and my hair was a complete mess. So if you're a guy, girl, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and put this in your hair before you swim, pre-swim hair defense, and it'll actually protect your hair from the elements that are in the water. That could be for open water, could also be in the pool as well. And we have a 15% off discount code for you guys. Go ahead and check it out. We'll have it as a pinned comment here in the live chat. The code is MySwimPro, as you can see it beautifully laid out. So check it out. Thanks to AquaGuard for sponsoring this video. It's the pre-swim hair defense. So make sure you check that out. And thanks again for sponsoring the video. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to remove myself right there. Let's go ahead and answer some more questions. Here we go. Oh, this is a good one. Will you participate in the race to swim across the Bosphorus this year? So if you guys aren't familiar, there's an annual swim from Asia to Europe in Istanbul. It is absolutely amazing. It's so cool. Coolest thing I've ever done. And I did it in 2019. I will not be doing it this year, but I hope to do it again in the future. It's something definitely you guys should check out. So hopefully I can do it in the future. How do I hold my breath longer? Ooh, that's a good question. So there's two ways you can do this. The first way you can hold your breath longer is through training in the pool. So the way you do that is you gradually start to increase the amount of distance that you can swim without taking a breath. And so what you can do is you can do sets where you breathe every 3 strokes or every 5 strokes, and normally maybe you breathe every 2 strokes. So breathing every 5 strokes is really, really difficult. And incorporating a set like 1050s freestyle where you breathe every 5 strokes is a great way to develop that capacity, and you can build on that. So maybe you start with every 3 strokes, then every 5 strokes, then every 7. Maybe you do 50s where you only breathe 1 time per 25. There's a lot of variation in how you can do that. Another way you can train your lung capacity and improve your breath control is what you do out of the water. We have a great partnership with a company called Aerofit. So they have a breath trainer, and it'll actually help you increase your vital lung capacity, and that's something you can do out of the water. All right, great question here. How to start being more calm while swimming? Okay, so when it comes to comfort in swimming, this comes down to how you approach swimming before you get to the pool. So you get to the pool, you need to focus on decreasing your heart rate and being calm before you even get in the water. So some people, they experience, pre-swim anxiety. This could be before a race. So if you're competing in something, if you have a competition, you have a swim race, it's a swim meet, you might feel anxiety, and so your heart rate is just going to be elevated because of that. So you want to focus on doing breathing exercises before you even get in the water, so that way you're already calm in the water. And even while you're in the water, you can do these breathing exercises. You know what? Since we're here on the video, may as well do it with me. So everyone, right now, whatever you're doing, just go ahead and do this breathing exercise with me. I'm going to walk you through it. All you're going to do is you're going to inhale through your nose, and then you're going to exhale through your mouth. Ready? Here we go. We're going to inhale. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in through your nose. Breathe in, breathe in. Now you're just going to hold that. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. And now you're going to exhale. Push it out, push it out. So doing something like that 3 or 4 times where you inhale, hold, relax, try and get your heart rate down, and then exhale. That's a great skill to have if you have anxiety out of the water, but also before you get in the pool, while you're in the pool, or before a race. So let's go ahead and what is the ideal pool depth so you are comfortable to flip during laps? That's a good question. It really depends on how big you are. If you have good flip turn mechanics, you should be able to do a flip turn in water that is less than 1 meter deep, maybe 0.7 meters. If you're a little bit bigger, it's going to be more difficult in anything less than half a meter. So you're going to need at least 1 meter. But if the water is 1 meter deep, you should have no problem doing a flip turn. All right, let's scroll to more recent questions. All right. Love your videos. You literally taught me how to swim. Does moving your arms fast increase the speed, or will the speed increase if I move my legs quickly? Oh, great question. Thanks for the shout out and appreciate your support of MySwimPro. I would highly recommend you focus on decreasing your legs. So don't focus on your kick. Instead, focus on your hip rotation. So that way, every time you take a stroke, you focus on rotating your hips. And as you rotate your hips, you're going to make sure you increase your distance per stroke. You want to take less strokes through the line. So if you want to swim faster, you need to have more power per stroke. Don't worry about moving your arms faster. If you move your arms faster and you're able to maintain your distance per stroke, you will go faster. What happens though, if you just move your arms faster, you're going to spin your wheels and you probably won't go that much faster. So instead, think about increasing the amount of power that you have per stroke. All right, here we go. Why does butterfly seem like the hardest stroke? And when do you dolphin kick? Should you have your legs together or a little bit apart? All right, I'm going to answer the second part of that question. So the way butterfly works, it's like breaststroke. Your body is symmetric. So what happens on your right side happens on your left side. It's really important that your feet are together and you're pointing your toes when you do butterfly. In terms of it seems like butterfly is the hardest stroke. I would agree with you. Butterfly is the hardest stroke, especially to sustain over a period of time. The reason for that, it's a short axis stroke, just like breaststroke. That means your body is pivoting this way, whereas in freestyle and backstroke, your body is rotating side to side. So when it comes to doing butterfly, technique is really important, but also training it like breaststroke in really short segments. So instead of doing a 100 butterfly, it's better to do 4 25s butterfly. And if you can't do a 25 butterfly, that's okay too. Just do 4 strokes, stop, go back to the wall, and do those 4 strokes again. And eventually you can do 5 strokes and then 6 strokes. And so you want to build your way up to where you can do a full 25 meters of butterfly. If you're in a long course pool, a 50-meter pool, it's going to be a little bit harder, but you can do part of the length butterfly and then part of the length freestyle. And that way you can break it up, and eventually you can get to doing more distance of butterfly, but you should always break it up into 25s or 50s. Damien, thanks for all you do. If you could please give me advice, how can I accomplish my goal of becoming a professional distance swimmer? I'm really focusing on all that dropping time. Ooh, good. So if you want to be good at distance, you have to do 2 things. You have to have great technique fundamentals, good body position. And number 2, you have to train. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the distance. You have to be consistent. Unlike some other events, if you want to be good at the 1,500 meter pool or open water, you have to put in the foundation. And that means putting in a good amount of swimming. It doesn't mean you have to go out and swim as much as humanly possible, but you have to put in a good amount of swimming with the proper technique. All right, let's go ahead and get some more questions in here. Ooh, this is a good one. Let's squash this one. In freestyle, should the pull be an S shape? No, That is not correct. This is not how you swim freestyle. Great point to bring up. Once upon a time, a lot of coaches would talk about freestyle in the sense of you put your hand in the water and then you pull in an S and maybe a W, maybe a Q, F, whatever. Ideally, you stick your fingers in the water, you extend, and then you pull in a straight line. A straight line meaning your fingertips follow a straight line, but you're popping your elbow up, the high elbow catch, and then you pull the water straight back. So don't worry about pulling in an S. Pull back straight. All right, let's go ahead and find another question. Great questions, guys. Appreciate everyone joining us for the live. We're going to answer a few more questions, and then I'm going to have to sign off because we have a lot of exciting new content to bring you guys. So stay tuned. We have amazing videos coming out all the time. All right, we have a question here from Dean. How can I improve my underwaters without getting tired? Because I always breathe on my first stroke. All right, so for those who are not familiar with what underwaters are, underwaters simply refers to what you do pushing off the wall and staying underwater in streamline until the breakout stroke. So if you watch the best swimmers in the world, you're going to see all of them. Not anyone doesn't do this. Everyone does this. You push off the wall in streamline and you go underwater, dolphin kicking in freestyle, backstroke, and butterfly. In breaststroke, we have the pull out, and maintaining that speed from the wall in streamline using the dolphin kick until the breakout stroke, which could be 10 or even 15 meters off of the wall. So if you want to swim faster and you want to improve your capacity for underwaters, it comes down to technique and training, which I mentioned before. So from a technique perspective, it's having an efficient kick, because you can do a lot of underwater kick, but it's not efficient. So you have to do drills in warm-up that properly activate the right muscle groups and the right energy system while you're doing the dolphin kick. So I really like doing dolphin kick streamline on my back. You can also do dolphin kick on your side, on your right side, on your left side. And by doing all of these drills and activating the muscles that are involved in engaging your core to do a dolphin kick, then when you actually do dolphin kicks off the wall in sets, whether it's kicking or actual swim sets, you're doing the dolphin kick more efficiently. Same thing applies for a race. You have to make sure that you're warming up the dolphin kick efficiently, so that way when you get to actually doing it, you're not doing it cold. A lot of swimmers, they just start swimming thinking that you're warmed up automatically, and that's not the case. No matter how old you are, or what level of swimming you are, by warming up the kick appropriately in the warm-up will enable you to perform in the main set. So the most important thing I can recommend for everyone to try is, if you want to get better at any fundamental part of swimming, you have to warm it up appropriately. It could mean a kick set. It could mean doing dolphin kick on your side, your right and your left, your stomach, your back, like I just described. And then once you do that, it comes down to training, being consistent and applying everything that you warmed up in the actual training. So with that being said, we are just about at time. I want to thank everyone for joining this live. Make sure you're subscribed to catch the next video, and I'll see you guys later. Happy swimming.